Hey everyone, in today's video, I've got a powerful and life-changing story for you. We're going to meet Sophia Miller, a musician who went through some tough times and, in the middle of a crisis, had a near-death experience. What she saw on the other side is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about life, death, and even Mary, the mother of Jesus. The craziest part? What she found out about Mary is going to leave you in shock. So before we dive in, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss anything like this, and hit that notification bell for all the updates. Now buckle up for this intense ride filled with unexpected insights. My name is Sophia Miller, I'm 35 years old, and I'm a musician from Seattle, Washington. My life has always been a mix of creativity and struggles. Ever since I was a kid, art was my escape. My way to share all the complicated stuff in life that I couldn't really express in words. Seattle, with its musicianic vibe, felt like the perfect place for me. But life has a funny way of throwing curveballs. A few years back, I went through a tough divorce that really shook me up. Suddenly, I was on my own, taking care of two amazing kids while dealing with a pile of financial and emotional issues. Every day felt like a fight, not just against the bills piling up, but also against my own doubts and fears that seemed to grow with every sleepless night. As if that wasn't enough, my body decided to turn on me. I was diagnosed with an autoimmune syndrome that slowly drained my energy. Days turned into a never-ending loop of exhaustion, pain, and frustration. I felt like I was swimming upstream, always worn out, always struggling just to keep my head above water. Art, which once saved me, became another source of stress. How could I create when every stroke of the brush felt like a monumental task? How could I express beauty when all I felt was hurt? My paintings, which used to burst with color and life, started to reflect the darkness swirling inside me. Despite everything, I tried to stay strong for my kids. They were my light, my reason to keep going. But in the quiet moments of the night when they were asleep, I let myself break down. I cried softly, wondering if things would ever change, if I would find the strength to get through it all. It was in the midst of all the chaos that something unexpected occurred. One night that would change the way I thought about life, death, and everything in between. It was an experience that made me question what I knew about reality and my place in it. This is the story of my journey beyond life, a near-death experience that reshaped who I am and how I see the world. It all started on what seemed like a regular night. I had tucked the kids in and was about to crash myself, feeling as tired as ever, when I felt that familiar tightness in my chest. Asthma. It wasn't anything new, but this time felt different. The feeling of not being able to breathe hit me harder and felt more terrifying. I tried using my inhaler, as I always did, but it didn't help. Panic started creeping in as I fought for breath. Each inhale felt like a struggle, and I was starting to feel like I was losing the fight. With shaky hands, I managed to call 911. The minutes that followed felt endless. When the ambulance finally got there, I was teetering on the edge of despair. The oxygen they gave me offered a bit of relief, but it didn't last long. At the hospital, doctors and nurses rushed around me. I heard the worried tones in their voices and saw the anxiety on their faces. They were doing everything they could, but nothing seemed to work. The suffocation feeling just got worse. My chest felt like it was on fire, and my vision started to fade around the edges. Fear engulfed me completely. Was this really it? Was I going to die like this? Leaving my kids behind with so many dreams left unfulfilled and so many things left unsaid. In the middle of all the chaos, a thought struck me. My grandmother, Margaret. She had passed away years ago, but she was always my rock. I couldn't count how many times in tough situations I wished I could just talk to her again. Feel her comforting hug, hear her wise advice. Not able to speak or even form a clear prayer in my mind, I silently pleaded. "Grandma, please help me. I'm not ready to go. My kids need me. Please don't let me die like this." Then something unexplainable happened. Amid all the hustle of the hospital room, with machines beeping and worried voices all around, a sudden wave of calm washed over me, as if someone had wrapped me in a cozy blanket. And then I saw her. Not with my regular eyes, but in a way I couldn't quite describe. My grandmother Margaret was right there, smiling at me with that familiar, warm smile I loved so much. She didn't say a word, but I could feel her being there, wrapping me in comfort and protection. In that moment, a sense of calm washed over me. The fear of death that had gripped me just moments earlier started to fade away. I still had trouble breathing, still felt my body fighting, but a deep sense of peace settled in my heart. This was the start of a journey I'd never imagined, an experience that would shake everything I thought I knew about life, death, and what comes after. A journey that would take me to the far reaches of existence and back, completely changing who I am. With my grandmother's comforting presence by my side, I felt surrounded by a soft, white mist. The hospital room, with its buzzing sounds and harsh lights, began to drift away. It felt like a curtain was being pulled back, revealing a reality that had always been there, but that we usually couldn't see. The suffocating feeling that I'd been battling moments before just vanished. For the first time in ages, I felt completely at ease. There was no pain, no fear, just a lightness and freedom I'd never known before. I looked at my grandmother, and she smiled again, her eyes filled with a love that seemed to go beyond anything I could grasp. She reached out her hand to me, and when I touched it, it was like a wave of understanding washed over me. We didn't need to talk. I could feel her thoughts, her feelings, as if they were part of me. "Don't be scared, sweetie," her voice rang in my mind. "You're safe now. There's so much for you to see and learn." As we moved through that white mist, I started to realize we were traveling, not in our physical bodies, but something lighter, more subtle. It was like we were pure consciousness, gliding through dimensions I never knew existed. The colors around us began to shift, becoming brighter and more alive than anything I'd ever seen in Seattle. Deep blues blended with radiant golds, forming intricate patterns that looked like entire universes. I felt an energy buzzing around me, as if the air itself was alive. Every particle of this reality seemed to be humming a silent tune, a cosmic symphony of beauty that was beyond words. As we glided forward, I started to notice other presences around us. They weren't solid shapes as Moth. We're not in a usual place anymore. It's more like a mix of light and energy. Some of these energies I recognized right away. They were the spirits of loved ones who had passed on. Others were complete strangers, yet I felt this deep bond with them, as if we were all part of a large, universal family. Time felt like it had stopped here. I couldn't tell if we had been gone from the hospital for minutes or ages. All I knew was that every single moment was filled with profound meaning, revealing ideas beyond my understanding. My grandmother gently led me through this new experience, allowing me to take it all in at my own speed. She seemed to sense exactly what I needed, knowing when I needed a moment to soak everything up, or when I was ready to keep going. That's when it hit me. This wasn't the end. It wasn't death like I always thought it would be. It felt like an awakening, an opening of my mind that was beyond anything I had ever known. And something inside me whispered that this journey was just getting started. As I floated in this space full of indescribable light and colors, with my grandmother watching over me, something started to shift. A light, brighter and purer than anything I had ever encountered, began to form in front of us. It was like love itself was taking form, sending out an energy that made me feel alive in a completely new way. From this light, a figure stepped forward, and I recognized her immediately, even though she didn't look anything like the images I had seen before. It was Mary, the mother of Jesus, but not like she appears in paintings or statues. She was pure energy and love, a presence that was so strong yet so gentle, I felt wrapped in her grace. Her eyes, if you could even call them that, were like gateways to infinity. Within them I could see galaxies spinning, lives being created and transformed. Her smile felt like a cosmic hug, making me feel accepted and loved in a way I had never felt before. When she spoke, it wasn't with words, but through a direct flow of thoughts and feelings that resonated within me. "Welcome, beloved daughter," her message flowed into me. "You have reached an important point in your journey. There's so much for you to learn and experience." I felt overwhelmed by her presence, by all the love and wisdom radiating from her. Tears of joy and gratitude streamed down, even though I no longer had a physical form to cry. "But why me?" I managed to ask, my thoughts shaking with emotion. "I'm nobody special. I'm just a mom trying to get by, a failed musician." Margaret smiled, and in that smile, I felt the love of moms everywhere. "Sweetheart," she replied, "everyone is special in their own way. Every person is a unique and precious part of something bigger. Your struggles, your pains, your joys, all of it makes you who you are, and it's all loved without condition." Her words sunk deep into me, healing wounds I didn't even realize I had. Years of feeling unworthy, of doubting myself, started to fade away under her love. "You're here," Margaret continued, "because it's time for you to wake up to your true self. You need to see that you are so much more than your body or your situation. You're a co-creator of this universe, a beautiful expression of universal consciousness." As she spoke, it felt like layers were being pulled back from my mind. I began to notice connections I hadn't seen before, to grasp truths that were always there but had gone unnoticed. "Remember always, Sophia," Margaret said, her love wrapping around me like a warm blanket. "You're never alone. Divine love is always with you, inside you. You are loved beyond measure, just as you are." With those words, I felt a deep change happening within me. It was as though every part of me was being immersed in light, being reset to a higher way of living. I was getting ready for something bigger, something that would forever shift how I viewed reality. While I was still soaking in Margaret's warm presence, a new energy started to show up. It was a strong, majestic force that radiated strength and protection. Next to me, a figure appeared, and I instantly recognized him as Archangel Michael. Describing him in human terms was hard. He was like a living flame, a mix of energies creating an almost solid presence. His wings were like streams of light flowing endlessly. His eyes sparkled like twin stars, deep and ancient, holding wisdom from ages past. When he spoke, his voice didn't just resonate in my mind, but vibrated through my whole being, as if every particle of my existence was dancing to his words. "Sophia," he began. His voice, a blend of thunder, rumbled in the background as I felt a powerful energy in the air. "You've been brought here at a key point in your journey," came a deep voice. "There's a bigger purpose for your life, something you're about to uncover." I felt tiny in front of him, yet incredibly honored and safe, as if his every word was filled with universal wisdom. "Your life so far," he continued, "with all its ups and downs, has set you up for every struggle, every tough time, has helped you build the resilience and compassion you need to fulfill your purpose." As he spoke, memories of my life started flashing before my eyes. I recalled my divorce, my fight with illness, and those dark days when I felt I couldn't go on. But now, looking back from this new angle, those moments didn't feel like pointless suffering anymore. They were valuable lessons, each one preparing me for something bigger. "But what exactly is this purpose?" I asked, my heart racing with emotion. He smiled, and it felt like his grin could light up the entire universe. "Your purpose, Sophia, is to be a shining light for others. You'll use your experiences, your art, and what you've learned to help those who feel lost. You're going to discover that the reality you know is just a small part of a much larger picture, and your job will be to help others awaken to their true, divine selves." Understanding washed over me like a tidal wave. It felt like pieces of a cosmic puzzle were clicking into place. All my past challenges and pains suddenly made sense. "But how?" I asked, a mix of excitement and fear in my voice. "How can I take on such a big mission?" "Through your art, Sophia," he replied, his voice filled with warmth and encouragement. "Your creativity is a special gift, a way to express the universe's truths in a manner that others can grasp and feel. Every brushstroke, every color choice holds the power to awaken spirits, to touch hearts in ways words can't." He paused, letting me take in his words before he added, "But remember, you won't be on this path alone. We'll always be right beside you, guiding, inspiring, and protecting you. You're part of something way bigger than you realize, Sophia. It's time to accept who you really are and the strength you possess." In that moment, it felt like a fog had been lifted from my mind. I didn't see myself as a broken person struggling to get by anymore. I saw myself as a powerful being, capable of creating and making changes. It was a huge responsibility, but it felt freeing at the same time. Michael reached out his hand, or at least what looked like a hand made of pure light. "Come on," he said. "There's so much more for you to discover. Are you ready for a journey that will turn everything you thought you knew upside down?" Filled with both wonder and excitement, I nodded, ready for the next phase of this amazing adventure beyond life. As I accepted Archangel Michael's invitation, I felt a powerful energy wrap around me. It was like every part of me was being lifted to a new level of existence. Together, we started moving through a tunnel of light where the colors shifted between orange and gold, forming mesmerizing patterns that seemed to hold entire universes. "What you're about to experience, Sophia," Michael said, his voice echoing through the light, "is a broadening of your awareness. You'll see past the limits of the physical world and grasp what reality truly is." As we moved along, I started to feel a deep change in how I perceived everything. It was like my senses were expanding, letting me take in things I hadn't been able to understand before. I began catching glimpses of other dimensions. I saw worlds layered over our own, parallel realities where different versions of myself were making different choices. Suddenly, it clicked for me that the universe is way bigger and more complicated than I had ever imagined. "Check this out, Sophia," Michael said, pointing to what looked like a complex cosmic web. "This is the web of life. Each thread represents a soul, and every intersection is a moment of choice or connection. Everything connects, and everything is part of a bigger picture." I stood in awe as I watched my own lifeline weave in and out with countless others, creating patterns of indescribable beauty. I could see how my actions, even the little ones that seemed unimportant, had impacts reaching far beyond what I could ever have thought. "But if everything is connected," I asked, "why do we often feel so alone and cut off in the physical world?" Michael smiled with a look of understanding. "That's just the illusion of separation, Sophia. In this physical life, you get to experience individuality as part of your spiritual journey. But the truth is, you're never really alone. Every thought and every action sends ripples through this cosmic web, impacting everything." We kept moving along our path, and Michael started to show me scenes from my own life. I saw myself as a kid, full of joy and imagination. I witnessed the struggles and painful moments I had gone through, but now I was seeing them from a completely different angle. "Take a closer look," Michael said, "and notice how every experience and every challenge has shaped who you are." And I got it. I realized how my divorce, as tough as it had been, taught me about strength and resilience. I noticed how my battle with illness had made me more compassionate toward others. Every tough moment, every hurdle overcome, had played a part in my spiritual development. "Do you see now," Michael said softly, "that there are really no good or bad experiences? There are just experiences, and it's up to you how you want to respond to them. Your limitations were all self-imposed, Sophia. They came from mistaken beliefs and unresolved pain." A wave of understanding settled in. All the times I had felt not enough, all the times I second-guessed myself, and all the moments I thought about giving up, they all came from a limited understanding of who I really was. "You are so much more than your physical body, so much more than your thoughts or feelings," Michael continued. "You're a unique expression of divine consciousness, with unlimited potential to create and transform." As I took in these truths, I felt something within me open up. It was like layers and layers of limitations were being peeled away, revealing a core of pure light and infinite power. "This is your true self, Sophia," Michael said, his voice deep with love and respect. "This is the divine being you've always been and always will be. It's time to own this truth and live from that place." In that instant, I felt completely changed. I was no longer just Sophia, the struggling musician trying to make it. I was a co-creator of the universe, a unique and precious piece of the divine. And with that understanding came a sense of purpose and power I had never felt before. "Are you ready to take the next step in your journey?" Michael asked, his eyes sparkling with a light that seemed to hold entire galaxies. With a heart full of gratitude and a mind opened by understanding, I nodded, eager to dive even deeper into the mysteries of the universe and my own soul. Guided by Archangel Michael, I felt myself lifting to an even higher level of consciousness. The light around us grew brighter, wrapping everything in a warm embrace of pure energy. It felt like we were getting closer to the very heart of the universe. "What you're about to experience, Sophia," Michael said, his voice resonating through my entire being, "is a connection with the source. Here, you will truly understand the nature of God and your own divinity. Before I could fully grasp his words, I felt myself gently pushed forward, as if I was diving into an ocean of light. The moment I touched this light, something incredible happened. It felt like every part of me was expanding to include the whole cosmos. I was everything, and everything was within me. I could sense the movement of galaxies, the birth and death of stars, the flow of life on every planet. At the same time, I was aware of the tiniest subatomic particle, feeling the quantum dance of creation at its most basic level. And woven through all of this, connecting everything in a cosmic symphony of stunning beauty, was love. Not love like we know it here on Earth, but a love so immense, so unconditional, so complete, that it nearly made my heart explode with joy. In this state of total connection, I finally got what God truly is. It wasn't some separate being on a heavenly throne. God was all of this, the totality of existence, the consciousness that fills and brings to life everything in creation. And I, like every other being in the universe, was a unique expression of this divine consciousness. Tears of joy and gratitude streamed down my face as I took in this fundamental truth. For so long, I had been looking for something outside of myself, some external force to save me, guide me, and love me. And now I saw that what I had been searching for had always been inside me, always a part of who I am. In this state of connection, all doubts, all the fears and limits I'd ever felt just faded away. I saw myself for what I really am, a being of endless light, with the ability to create and change anything. I also realized that this sense of unity isn't just for when we have mystical experiences or when we die. It's our natural state, our real essence. The separation we feel in our everyday lives is just an illusion, part of the cosmic game we play with ourselves. As I floated in this sea of divine awareness, I received insights and understanding that went way beyond words. I could see how every thought, feeling, and action we take in this physical world sends ripples through the larger field of consciousness, impacting everything. I got a grasp on the true power of co-creation. We aren't just passive viewers in a fixed universe. We are active creators, constantly shaping our reality through our choices, beliefs, and how we perceive things. Gradually, I felt myself being gently eased back into a more individual way of thinking. The feeling of complete unity faded a bit, but didn't entirely go away. It felt like a part of me was still linked to that endless source of love and wisdom. When I could finally string together coherent thoughts again, I turned to Archangel Michael, who had been with me the whole time. I stuttered, searching for the right words to express what I had just gone through. Michael smiled, his eyes full of understanding and warmth. That, Sophia, is who you truly are. It's who all of us are, divine, infinite, and always linked to the source of all creation. I stayed quiet for a moment, letting this truth sink into every part of me. Finally, with a heart bursting with gratitude and a mind open to new understandings, I felt ready for whatever was next in my journey. After that incredible experience of unity with the Source, I sensed a gentle shift in the energy around me. Archangel Michael, still by my side, spoke with a voice rich in understanding and kindness. Sophia, it's time for you to head back to the physical world. A wave of mixed emotions washed over me. On one hand, I didn't want to leave this place of pure light and unconditional love. But on the other hand, I understood deeply that I had a purpose to fulfill, a mission to complete in the real world. Just remember, Michael said, what you went through here isn't separate from your life on Earth. It's your true self, always there, always within reach. Your job now is to live from that realization, bringing a bit of heaven to Earth through what you do, think, and create. I nodded, feeling a mix of determination and humility. As I got ready to come back, I caught another glimpse of the web of life, those threads linking all souls together. I could really see how my own lifeline connected with so many others, forming a beautiful pattern that was hard to describe. Every life you touch, every heart you uplift, sends out ripples that reach far and wide, Michael said, almost reading my mind. Never underestimate the impact of a single act of kindness, a supportive word, or a genuine expression of love. As his words echoed in my heart, I felt myself being gently drawn back. The bright light started to dim, and I sensed myself descending through layers of awareness. Little by little, I began to feel my physical body again. At first, it was a weird and slightly uncomfortable feeling, like putting on clothes that were too tight after moving around freely. The pain in my chest, which had vanished during my journey, came back, though it wasn't as bad. I slowly opened my eyes. The hospital light, which had once seemed so harsh and glaring, now felt soft and almost dreamy. I could make out the shapes of the doctors and nurses nearby, their expressions shifting from worry to relief. "She's back!" I heard someone say, their voice sounding distant. As I fully tuned back into the physical world, a wave of emotions hit me. Tears began to flow from my eyes, but they weren't tears of sadness or fear. They were tears of deep gratitude, of immense joy for having experienced something that went beyond normal human understanding. The doctors, thinking my tears meant something else, tried to comfort me. "It's all right now, Mrs. Miller. You're safe." I wanted to tell them that I wasn't crying out of fear or relief, but because I had touched something divine, that I had felt a love so vast and unconditional that it completely changed my view of reality. But I couldn't find the words. How could I explain something so deep and life-changing? As the doctors conducted their tests and tweaked my medications, I found myself in a state of calm reflection. My body still felt weak and sore, but my spirit was stronger and more alive than ever. I shut my eyes again, not to drift off, but to reconnect with that feeling of oneness I had felt. To my surprise and joy, I could sense a hint of that deep connection again. It was like a door had opened, letting me tap into a source of love and wisdom, even while being fully present in the physical world. In that moment, I made a quiet promise to myself and to the universe. I vowed to live the rest of my life with this new understanding. I promised to use my art, my words, and my actions to share a piece of the light I had encountered. I knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. Getting back to normal after such a life-changing experience would be tough. But I also felt, with a certainty that resonated deep within me, that things would never be the same. I had been changed at a fundamental level, and with that change came a sense of purpose and an inner strength I had never realized I had. As I rested in the hospital bed, feeling life returning to my body, I smiled. It was the smile of someone who had brushed against the infinite and returned to share their story. It was the smile of someone who understood that every challenge, every moment of pain or joy was part of a much bigger and meaningful journey. With my heart overflowing with gratitude and my mind expanded by this new understanding, I got ready for the next chapter of my life. A chapter that would be written not just with ink and paint, but with the light of the unconditional love I had felt beyond the brink of death. In the days and weeks that followed my near-death experience, it felt like I was living in two different worlds at once. On one side, there was the physical world with its everyday demands, recovering in the hospital, fretting over medical bills, worrying about how I would explain everything to my kids. On the other side, a new level of awareness had opened up for me, a constant connection to something bigger that reminded me of the truth I had experienced. At first, it was tough to blend these two realities. There were times when I questioned whether it had all just been a vivid dream brought on by a lack of oxygen. But then I'd close my eyes, take a deep breath, and I'd feel that connection to something bigger, that unshakable feeling that we're all part of something so much greater and more beautiful than we can even imagine. My recovery was faster than the doctors thought it would be, and I really believed it was due to the deep spiritual healing I had gone through. But honestly, the real journey of healing and transformation was just starting. As soon as I got out of the hospital, I felt this strong urge to dive back into my art. But when I finally picked up my brushes, I realized something fundamental had shifted. The colors looked more vibrant, more alive. Every brushstroke felt full of deeper meaning. I began painting like crazy, trying to express on canvas some of the beauty and truth I had experienced. My artwork, which used to be dark and reflective of my struggles, now burst forth with light and color. Each piece became a kind of meditation, a way to reconnect with that divine connection I had felt. At the same time, I felt a strong need to share my experience and the lessons I had learned. I started meditating regularly, wanting to keep that connection to the divine open. I also explored different spiritual traditions and energy healing practices, discovering with delight that many of them mirrored the truths I had experienced firsthand. My kids, who were initially worried about my change in behavior, soon began to notice a positive shift in me. There was a sense of peace and joy in me that wasn't there before. Our conversations became deeper and more meaningful. I found ways to share the lessons I learned with them, not by preaching, but through stories and examples that helped them see their own divine nature. As word got out about my experience and my transformed art, I started getting invitations to speak to small groups. At first, I was nervous. Who was I to talk about such profound topics? But then I remembered Archangel Michael's words about my purpose, and I found the courage to share my story. To my surprise and gratitude, my words seemed to resonate deeply with people. Many cried when they heard about the unconditional love I had felt. Others claimed they could feel a real shift in their own energy just by being around my paintings. Little by little, I started to see how I could carry out the mission that had been given to me. My art turned into a way to express the truths of the universe, something that others could feel and connect with. My words became an invitation for people to discover their own inner light. Of course, it wasn't all smooth sailing. There were days when the heaviness of the world felt like too much to handle. Days when I questioned myself and what I was going through. But in those moments, I learned to close my eyes, take a deep breath, and tap back into that endless source of love and wisdom. So, day by day, brush by brush, conversation by conversation, I started to live out my purpose. Not as some kind of spiritual leader or saint, but as someone normal who had touched something amazing and wanted to share a piece of that with the world. My journey of change was just taking off, but I welcomed it wholeheartedly, feeling lucky to be a part of something divine, helping to wake others up to their true selves, one heart at a time. Looking back on all that's happened since that memorable night in the hospital, I'm blown away by how deep the transformation has been. That near-death experience wasn't just a one-time thing. It sparked a total shift in how I see the world and how I live my life. Now, several months later, I still carry with me the undeniable feeling of unconditional love that flows through everything. This understanding shapes how I see all my experiences, whether they're happy or tough. My art keeps getting better, becoming a more direct reflection of that divine connection I felt. Every brushstroke and every color choice is like a prayer, a form of meditation, a way to bring that incredible light into the real world. It's fulfilling to see how these pieces resonate with people in deep and surprising ways, often helping them have their own insights and moments of awakening. My talks and workshops have grown, reaching more and more people. I've realized that telling my story and sharing what I've learned is a big part of my purpose now. I don't think of myself as a guru or some kind of spiritual teacher. I see myself as a messenger, someone who caught a glimpse of something divine and came back to share that experience. One of the biggest lessons I've been learning is that we all play a part in creating our own lives. I've come to realize how my old beliefs and fears shaped a lot of my tough experiences. With this new understanding, I've been working hard to change my thought patterns and emotions, and I'm actually seeing real changes in my life. My relationships with my kids have really flourished in ways I never thought possible. They've picked up on the differences in me and are starting to explore their own spiritual paths. Our talks are now so much more meaningful, and it fills my heart with gratitude. My health has improved a lot too. While I still deal with my autoimmune issues, my outlook on taking care of my body has completely changed. I now see my body as a sacred space, a reflection of my true self. This shift in how I view things, along with the energy healing techniques I've picked up, has really helped my symptoms a lot. Of course, not every day is smooth sailing. I still run into challenges and have my moments of doubt. But now, when I'm feeling overwhelmed or out of sorts, I have tools and practices that help me get back on track. Meditation has become a vital part of my daily life, helping me reconnect with that never-ending source of love and wisdom. One of the most eye-opening realizations I keep coming back to is that death, as we understand it, is just a transition. Knowing this has taken away my fear of death and replaced it with deep respect for the wonder of life in all its forms. Looking back, I can see how every challenge I've faced prepared me for where I am now. My divorce, my money struggles, my illness, each of these experiences taught me compassion and understanding that allows me to really connect with others and share my story in a genuine and powerful way. As I keep moving forward on this journey, I feel incredibly thankful and honored to have gone through this transformation. I now get that each of us has the potential to awaken to our true nature, to live from a place of unconditional love and connection to the universe. My goal now is to be a source of light, using my creativity, my words, and my actions to remind others of their own inner greatness. I know the path ahead will have its own hurdles, but I'm ready for it. Face them with an open heart and a steady belief in the love that surrounds us all. I wrap up this story not as an ending, but as an exciting new chapter. Each day is a chance to dig deeper into this greater awareness, to live more fully from this special connection. To everyone listening, I hope my journey serves as a reminder of your own beautiful essence. No matter your beliefs or experiences, remember that you are loved unconditionally, that you are a one-of-a-kind expression of the divine, and that within you is the power to change your life and make a real difference in the world. Always keep in mind, you are so much more than your physical self and your current situation. You are a being of infinite light, blessed with endless potential to create, love, and grow. May you wake up to this truth and live your life as the shining example of divine love that you really are. If you found this uplifting spiritual message meaningful, please give it a like, share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. Let's spread this message far and wide. See you next time.